it.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo. Good morning, Vanessa Moss.
Good morning. Good morning to Detroit Black and White viewers. Good morning to you, Adolph and Allen,
Good
as,
morning.
as well as our guests that are sitting here in McShane's restaurant cheering us on, as well as Henry Madness Mayers, who is our engineer this morning.
Well, let's get right down to it. Uh, Outrage of the week, Vanessa.
Okay, so my outrage of the week is mine has to do with a man named Patrick Brown. He's from New Orleans. He was arrested and convicted 29 years ago for a rape that he did not commit. He the rape was supposedly with his 6-year-old stepdaughter. The stepdaughter never testified, but her story has been consistent in the last 29 years that he was not the person. He was not the person that raped her. So after 29 years, or of course, his conviction was set aside. But now this man has to, you know, uh, learn life over again. I mean, at the time that they have cell phones, the way that they have cell phones now, that he didn't even know how to go to Target. But what is really outrageous is that while Louisiana has something where people can get, if you're wrongfully convicted and you get out, you can get up to $400,000, which is $40,000 a year. You have to ask for it and you have to appeal to the same system that consistently denied you freedom, even though you had this victim who said he didn't do it. And you have an attorney general who's running for a governor for the state of Louisiana who can just say, you know what, he's proven his innocence. We'll go ahead and give it to him. But no, he wants to fight it. So I think that this will be a really, really good, whoever's running against this guy. This could be political football right here. But what is outrageous is that consistently for 29 years, you had this victim say, he is not the person. And guess what? The powers that be said, we don't care what you say, he's staying in. That is outrageous.
Okay, Alan.
All right, I'm gonna talk about when we talked about Donald Trump and he vowed to clean up the swamp, uh, and instead he brought his own lizards in here. And here's a woman who is accusing, her last name is Dunphy, accusing Rudy Giuliani uh, of allegations of sexual harassment. She worked for him, and here's a little bit of a interesting interview.
I mean, was it a consensual romantic relationship?
We did get involved romantically, but I knew what could happen if I said no. I could lose my job. There's high pay, White House access. It's exciting. And then there's this obligation or pressure to also be physical.
The 43-year-old says they worked out of his Manhattan apartment, and that 78-year-old Giuliani often demanded that she work naked, in a bikini, or in short shorts.
It quickly turned into a requirement for keeping my job.
She claims that Giuliani demanded intimacy while on the phone with clients, including President Trump.
When Rudy was on legal calls with President Trump, he required and expected me to be pleasing him during his calls with President Trump. After the calls, Rudy would want to be with me physically and have me address Rudy as Mr. President.
Need you say more?
I'm outraged. That's your outrage.
I am too, because let me tell you something. She knew, she said it started off consensual. So, you with this old guy, you know that he wants you to slob on his knob. right? You know, he wants, I mean, he probably can't do much of anything at all. I'm outraged that this is your story as well. I'm sorry. And I'm a woman, okay? I'm a woman and I know what sexual harassment looks like. I don't know how far she's going to get with this because you look like you were a willing participant based upon that snippet that we just saw. So she
Well,
talked about the allure of the White House and all of that.
Right.
Man, go sit
yeah,
down
I mean,
somewhere.
you hope somebody would say, you know what, this is not the proper working condition. I quit. On the other hand, what a sleazebag he is to make those kind of demands on somebody who works for him.
He wanted to see her in a bikini. What's wrong with that?
Okay, Vanessa. Next show, you gonna wear a bikini.
Absolutely.
You gonna,
You know, you guys call me the stuff starter, but
well,
yeah,
well, you do start shit. There ain't no question. There ain't no stuff. It's shit. Anyway, that is outrageous. My outrage is the gas station clerk who locked the door for $3. It's $3 fucking dollars. He didn't let the people out, and this madman said, "I'm gonna shoot everybody if you don't let me out."
Right.
Unbelievable. And yeah, he shot everybody and killed one person. I don't get it. You know, they go into these neighborhoods, these gas stations make you can't stop at a certain time in the evening. People standing outside of a lot of these stations. Even when you can go down Woodward and go through Holland Park, it'd be cheap gas.
Oh,
But
yeah,
who wants to stop?
Right.
Yeah.
I go at night. I drive down Woodward and I see, oh my God, gas is like what, $3.19, and you go up the road and it's $3.69. You get into the suburbs and stuff, and yeah, I want to stop, but I don't want to stop. It's not worth it.
But they knocking you in the head in the suburbs right there on 8 Mile Road and Warren and Hazel Park. They got their issues, but the issues are when people gotta use these gas stations as supermarkets. You know, they gotta go get groceries, and you got people out there panhandling, asking for money. Can I put gas in your car?
I mean, you guys encounter that, right?
Yeah.
I tell them, man, get out my face. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? You used to say that, but some of these people, are crazy.
I agree. But what was crazier was the fact that this guy who worked at the station thought it was wise and prudent to lock the doors for $3.
Okay.
Now, to me, he's horrible. He's worse than the people that's standing outside asking for money and harassing folks.
And that gets a segue into our next, our first guest, Frank Miles Jr. When we're talking about gun violence, for the record, Frank and I and our engineer Henry went to Oak Park together. How you doing, Frank?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, Frank.
Doing fine, man.
Long time, Allan.
Yeah.
Hey, Frankie. How are you?
Yeah. So, Frank, what do you think?
Whoops.
Hey.
Okay, right. you got it. Okay. We were talking about gun violence, Frank. And,
okay.
Tell us your story.
Well, I remember like it was yesterday, October 14th, 1993, my 15-year-old son, started football, basketball, great student at Redford High School, was walking to football practice, going through the bus stop, when some boys in one gang was shooting at another boy in another gang getting on the bus, poor marksmanship, whatever, shot and killed my son. The worst day of my life ever. You know, I can't tell you. Even today, it hasn't been one day that I haven't thought about it. And my son, you know, Adolph, you know, you've been knowing my family had a long time. And I tell you, a lot of things happened along the way. If I could tell one quick thing, I was 15 years old at one point, and Oak Park High School had just won the first state championship ever with 5 guys, Adolph Mongo, and I won't name the other guys, but 5 guys won the state championship. We went off and was celebrating. I think we bought chicken and everything. Then we went to Considine Rec Center. And we went there and we played basketball. We didn't know we wasn't supposed to win. We won the game. A bunch of us, about 5 of us. And when we was leaving out of there, a mob was downstairs waiting on us to come out to beat our butt or do whatever. We got out and we said, hey, man, no, we don't want to fight y'all. And then we got out and we ran to a gas station, which one of the guys' uncle owned. And they started grabbing guns, for real. Adolph said, no, man, don't do that. They wasn't listening. Me being a young guy and Adolph, he my guy. Adolph grabbed me. He said, Frank, whatever they do, you ain't doing. And he grabbed me. And the reason I'm saying that is because I could have been in a situation a lot of young guys get in, but everybody got leadership qualities, I believe. And Adolph was that leader that sat there and said, no, don't do it. And then before anything happened, the guy said, no, we ain't going to do that. We're going to go somewhere else. So I thank you, Adolph, for that.
It's a nice story. It's a nice story.
I really do.
I didn't know he was an athlete.
So Frank, you're involved in tell us what you're involved in since the shooting and what you're trying to do out there.
Since the shooting, I've worked with Save Our Sons and Daughters, So Sad, which was a great organization, Clementine Barfield, grassroots, on the ground, supposed to be intervention, but we were prevention too. We were doing peace rallies all over the place, walking the street, marching, doing whatever it takes, going to different gangs and talking to them, having meetings. But there's no more So Sad right now. Then I worked with the Victim Assistance Program, which was basically the same thing. But at the police department, it was a little different. They didn't want you to get, which was a good thing, and not saying So Sad did, they didn't want you to get hurt or whatever out there. So they stopped a lot of the grassroots stuff that we would do, which I think is very much needed.
Let me ask let me interject there. You said that you think that you understand and you think it was needed, but clearly the grassroots action, you guys were gaining traction and it was effective, right?
Well, I tell you this too. I'll say this too, and not trying to say it in a negative, bad way. When you lose a child, a lot. It's so sad. Let me tell you, all of us that work there were survivors. Of homicide. We wanted to get out there. It almost wasn't safety first. It was like, we going out there. So again, I don't think that was a bad thing, the way the police was doing it. But it kind of took away a little bit. My opinion.
Frank, what do the community need to do, especially in Detroit, to stop some of this senseless shooting?
Adolph, I have thought about this for years and years. You need more boots on the ground. I like them 300 Club and all them that's on the ground. But when we were young, Adolph, I can remember the police driving out in the summertime. So I know they did it when we was in school, riding down my street 10, 15 times a day. Not fast, cruising down the street. I think that's one thing that would really help.
Frank, how? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
was gonna say we see like gun violence is now spread in all different ways. We're seeing like endless like mass shootings at supermarkets and schools and stuff like that. Does that help your cause to push harder? Because now it's impacting, like people always say, people go to certain areas and they go, well, okay, there was another shooting there. And now it's like, oh my God, this never happens in our community. We've never had this before. Does that change the way you look at things, or?
Well, I think we need to continue to do the work the best we can. But I also remember when John Engler closed them places. I knew a lot of people where we grew up, Adolph, that were mentally had problems. But guess what they did? When they felt that, they went in the hospital or one of them clinics. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, John Engler closed all them places that stopped a lot of things. I remember we knew who was crazy when they went down the street, but now with these earphones, you can't tell who crazy. If they talking to themselves or what.
That is so true. That is so true.
Well,
now what about? Yeah,
I was just gonna say, I don't think we should be using the word crazy. I think mentally ill.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Look, no, don't apologize.
Hey,
I think that would be
with my family now.
right. I think that would be the politically correct word to use. But you're absolutely correct that we don't have mental health mental health hospitals now. People go into the hospitals and they have maybe like a 14-day stay. So the hospitals, it's just a revolving door. It's a revolving door.
Yeah.
And they expect for people to go and get treatment, outpatient treatment, which means that people, as a result of what the former governor did, it allowed for people that he knows, his friends, cronies, etc. They're making a whole lot of money because now you have this mental health issue being addressed, outpatient, right? And you expect for them to go, listen, if they're not taking it beforehand, what makes you think after a few days in the hospital they're going to become compliant? I see it all the time. Like I said, it's a revolving door, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I got one question, Frank. Tell us something about your son.
Frank was a leader. He was such a leader, and I hear in school too. One thing that I was looking for as a parent and was praying that it never did happen, and it didn't happen in court and everywhere else. I was actually waiting on somebody to say Frank was in a gang, Frank was a bad kid. No, nothing, never. Even today, the teachers, everybody, he was outstanding. He was very mannerable, everything. So I know we did a good job with him, but Frank had admirations. He wanted to go to University of Michigan, Adolph School. And the week that he died at Redford High School, the JV didn't have enough people to play Henry Ford. So he was a sophomore. They put him down there. He had like 6 touchdowns on JV. Wow. Came to play varsity 2 days later and scored 3 more touchdowns.
Wow.
So he was actually, on his way.
And Frank, what happened to the guy who shot him?
Well, it was 4 guys involved. A lot of mess happened in that. And then that was, this is deep too. They, the system let me and my family down because they all got found innocent.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it was real messy at the courtroom, carrying forward to the courtroom.
Uh-huh.
It got real messy. They sent us home one day and told us they wouldn't let the verdict out until we got back. We come down there the next morning, they didn't let the shooter go. So, I was upset. And they tried to give one guy some time, and he was out within, I think, 9 months. So, and you know what? And I kind of I'm still angry and different things about it. But going back to what Adolph did, out of all them four boys, if just one of them would have said, "No, man, that ain't what we gonna do," this never would have happened.
And
We
what,
wouldn't
what
have
do
been
you,
here today.
would you have the, if you had the opportunity to talk to the person, or maybe if that person's watching the show, what would you like to say to them?
Um, I definitely I had to forgive them, to be perfectly honest, um, and not necessarily for them, but for me. It would eat me up every day, every minute. Now it might eat me up every day, but every minute. Frank was my namesake, man. My dad's name was Frank. That was Frank the Third. You know, my line is broke. You know, no, there won't be a Frank the Fourth. You know, so but if y'all set him up on the show, I would come in and talk. If Adolph, whatever Adolph set up, I would talk to him about, let's see what's going on. But I forgive him, and I had to, because I tell you, when that happened, Adolph know we ain't from no little place. There's a lot of loyalty and different things. So I can't tell you how many people, from relatives to people I grew up with, Frank, say, Frank, look, I done found out, man. The uncle on Strawberry Fields, he the one gave him the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Come back, tell me everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where the families live, everything else. So I can imagine this is what happened. That's why I'm jumping around a little bit, but that's why So Sad was so good, because we had support groups that I ran and other people ran, and we got a chance to talk to people and tell them, look, we don't want to make this a double tragedy.
Right.
Where you go to jail for 20 years, that's a tragedy.
Right.
A loss to your family, and you already had a loss. So I can't tell you how many people I personally, and Clementine and whoever else, have talked down from doing something crazy. We even tell them, we say, look, if you was drinking 2 beers, it might go up to 8 beers. Now that your son is lost, and they kind of pull back, and we run them strong support groups. So,
Well, Frank, when we talk about some solutions, are we talking about mental health? Are we talking about better mentoring for some of the troubled kids? Are we talking about better gun laws? What do you see as some of the
I
solutions?
think all of the above. I tell you what, when I was young, I can remember the police. They knew everybody in their area, and that's Detroit. And so, say for instance, you did something and ran from the police, they'd be like, "You can run, okay? I see you. You gonna come home and eat, and I'm gonna be sitting at the table with your daddy, and your daddy gonna call them and tell them you home, and they gonna arrest you." Now you got police shootings and all this stuff here, and they know a person. Uh, I don't know, but yes, mental health is gonna be a key, all the time. Because I think again, when we years ago, people could just check in, and that's what they would do when
Well,
they felt.
then turn them into charter schools. I know your time is tight because you have something else to do, Frank. In closing, what are you doing right now? Are you still going to group and
You know,
talking to folks?
well, I talk to folks daily, uh, and when I hear of things happening, I try to contact a family and let them know some of the things that can happen, like from victim assistance program. A lot of people don't know that the victim assistance, the state of Michigan, will give you, when you lose a person through violence, will give you up to $5,000 for the funeral. They'll pay for counseling for your whole family for a period of time. They might pay you lost wages or their lost wages too. So I try to keep contact with you, but I'm retired right now. But I don't think I'll ever be totally retired. The people remember me and they call me from time to time. You need to talk to Frank. So,
well, we're gonna have to have you back on the show, Frank Miles.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
Anytime, my brother. Hey man, I love you, Adolph Mongo.
I love you too.
My pleasure, man. Adolph Mongo, my hero.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay,
thanks,
Frank.
man.
Thank you.
He saved me, but I might be gone.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Frank Miles Jr. We need to take a commercial break.
All right, let me get to the commercials here.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information. We're here.
Homeownership opportunities are rising in the city of Detroit, and there's a house out there that's right for you and your family. You don't even have to worry about credit or getting a loan. You can win a house for as little as $1,000 and pay for the renovation cost as you go. It all starts at buildingdetroit.org and the Detroit Land Bank Authority. Our auction and Own It Now programs offer a variety of houses and neighborhoods all over the city of Detroit. These homes are in desperate need of repair and new ownership. You can begin by going to our interactive map and detailed property listings to find the right fit for you. It won't be easy, and renovation costs are not cheap, but our compliance team is there every step of the way. We will help you track your progress and connect you with local discounts to save you more money. We have already sold more than 15,000 homes in the city of Detroit, and our inventory is shrinking fast, so you don't want to miss out on this wonderful opportunity. Start your home buying journey today by visiting buildingdetroit.org.
Wow.
Well, welcome back. That was
great. That was really very touching and very.
It was very moving. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
My story I wanted to talk about, so sad, is I went to meet with Miss Barfield as I was waiting in the little lobby area and stuff. They had so many obituaries sitting on the table, all young kids, all died by violence. It was the most depressing thing. And I used to write obituaries when I was a newspaper reporter, but not those kind of obituaries where every kid, 5-year-old, 4-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds. You had families that had multiple homicides in the family. You know, one family, never forget this, had their father got killed. They were in the streets.
Yeah.
Father got killed. The 3 brothers got killed.
Well, what happened is so sad. Frank intimated, he said that the organization no longer existed, and it wasn't until he said it, I had forgotten about So Sad. What happened?
Well,
do you know?
She internal problems.
Okay.
You know, that's what happened.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. And you know, these kind of organizations, they help. There's no question. They help. And if we don't have them, we got people out there. Frank said something that's so true. He said the streets know who do a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And he said, damn, it's hard to say I'm forgiving somebody. Can
you know what?
Could I don't know. People describe me as, well, you already know it. Once you cross me, man, it's like over. I'm sorry. I'm being very honest. I don't know if I could forgive, especially, when someone being gunned down, like, Frank's son, or even like my brother. He was 14. He passed 10 years before Frank's son was murdered. My brother was murdered, gun violence. So I don't know. And I know that I can relate, not as a parent, but as a sibling, that the outlook of your family is forever changed. Your outlook on people in general is forever changed. And I know I can say myself, one of the reasons why, and I'm just going to take a little turn, that one of the reasons why I don't have a license to carry a gun is because I had a very, very, very quick temper. And so I knew that if I had the power that you look at me wrong, say something wrong, and don't let it be the person that, the street said, killed my brother, you're going to be dead meat. So for me, I had to check myself. So I know that, I've worked very hard to not have such a quick temper, but
Well,
I could be a firecracker.
well, that's why I didn't become a police officer. Because
Yeah.
you know what? If I had a gun, I'm gonna use a gun.
Mhm.
I don't believe in having weapons.
Mhm.
Because there's no good come of it.
I have a little interesting story. When I was at the Washington Post, I wanted to do a story on the cost of one shooting in DC, and I called the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they hooked me up. It was a 15-year-old who was leaving a birthday party in public housing, just in the shadow of the Capitol, and some guy was coming down the street shooting at somebody else, and he caught a bullet in his back, and he was paralyzed. And so I did a story on all the costs, projected medical costs, the cost of incarceration, the cost of investigation. It was phenomenal. A lot. This is one shooting. And the interesting thing, his brother he was a great guy. His brother was a gangster, and his brother got involved. His brother was at a craps game, and he won money, and the guy didn't have the money. So his brother beat the shit out of that guy. Well, that guy ran home, got his brother. The brother came back and shot him. And so the interesting twist there was that they have victims assistance where they'll help pay for the funeral. But the mother, who knew who the shooter was, did not want to cooperate. So they would not. That was part of the deal. You have to cooperate to get the assistance, and she wouldn't do it. I got a call in the morning. I was going to the funeral. I got a call in the morning saying, "Allan, look, they won't let me. They need $250 more at the funeral home, or they're not going to let us do the funeral." And I, got out my credit card and paid for it. But I mean, there's another issue there about snitching and all that. Even with a victim, the family's victim, they don't want to sometimes snitch, which is,
want to snitch.
Yeah,
That's crazy as hell.
You know what? It's interesting that you bring up that whole snitching thing. My sons and I have had conversations about it, and I mean conversations that have turned into arguments, because it seems to be that those millennials really have this attitude of no snitching. And listen, and they tell, they say things like, well, you know what, if you're out there like that, that you got to take it for the team. You're not supposed to tell. Listen, if I have to choose between my freedom or my family and talking,
I'm snitching.
Guess what?
I'm snitching.
Right.
I'm talking, I'm singing, I'm skipping, I'm doing it all. I really, really, and I don't like using this word, but I'm going to use it. I really hate that these communities had this no snitch mentality. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. Maybe somebody could explain it to me, but that is a whole problem.
And the interesting thing is I'm still in touch with he's no longer a kid. He's like 41 or 42, and we still talk all the time. And he says the guy who shot his brother, I can't remember if he's still in prison, but he said the guy was mad at him, the victim. He was mad that he ended up going to prison because he shot him, which is just another level of insanity.
Right.
Right.
Well, listen, I'm gonna snitch. I used to tell all my brothers they do something I told. One time I was in the car with my old man and stopped at a light. A lady winked at him. I told my mama. He said, "I'm not." He said, "I'm not."
I have a similar story.
He said, "I'm not taking you nowhere with me."
I have a similar story. I would tell too when I would tell when you told because you knew it was wrong. There was something not right about that.
Right.
I did something similarly. My father, women loved him. He's in the entertainment industry, and this lady, clearly, she knew where we lived. She came over to the doggone house, right? My mom was at work. I called and said, I gave her the name. I told her the make and model of the car. I told everything. And of course, there was no peace in the house that evening when she got home. But yeah, and so would I be considered a snitch? Yes. Did I have a problem with it? No. Would I have a problem with doing it today? Absolutely not.
Remember those stories when police officers stopped folks and the kid in the back seat said, "My father got a pound of weed in the trunk of the car." You know,
that might be a problem.
And the police said, "Oh no, I know somebody who fourth grade teacher." Ask them, what do your father do? They say, book the numbers. so yeah. Oh, and in my house, though, my mother said, what happens
in
here
the house stays in the house. That's house. Right.
Well, we at McShane's, and I just wanted to bring on Bob Roberts, the owner, and just thank him for letting us come and upset their routine on this Saturday. How you doing, Bob?
Good, thank you.
Good. Let's see if we can get Bob in.
Can we get him in the camera? I can get out the camera. Let Bob come on in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want him to take your headphones? Yeah.
Let me see if I can play around with this a second. Whoops, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
Whoops.
On the fly.
Yeah, you know how to handle it. You're a star.
That's right.
Bob Roberts, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, no question. Allan Lengel.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Good, pleasure.
Tell us what's happening over here in Corktown. We see all the new development, the hotels, the train station, new bank.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit going on. We just did the opening for the old book depository building, which is the building that's immediately to the east of the train station. And they have, so that's it's a innovative startup incubator. And the major tenant there is New Lab out of New York. And so they opened, did their grand opening a couple of weeks ago. We have the Godfrey Hotel, which we hope to get open the end of July. So that's right around the corner. And that's I think they got about 220 rooms. There's going to be a ground floor restaurant with with a sidewalk cafe, a rooftop bar. They've got a banquet facility. So we're really excited to get those guys on board. They've been good corporate neighbors so far and participated, did good public engagement and have participated well with the community so far. So we're excited to get them open. And they've been going gangbusters. They've been moving fast.
So you preparing for the Grand Prix?
Yeah, we've got a couple of big weekends coming up. This weekend, Memorial Weekend, we've got the Detroit Electronic Music Festival movement. I'm old school, so I still call it DEMF.
Okay.
The kids nowadays call it movement. So that's this coming up weekend, Memorial Weekend, and then the weekend after that, we've got the Grand Prix. And what we're going to do is we've aligned with the Grand Prix, as well as the Mobility Hub, which is the Mobility Hub is the parking structure, the new one on Bagley there by the Joe Louis Greenway. And so we're going to actually offer parking at the Mobility Hub, and then we'll have shuttles that will drop off at Michigan and 14th, Michigan and Trumbull, and Michigan and Brooklyn, so people can enjoy the restaurants and shops. And then it'll also take you down and drop you off at the Grand Prix at Fort Street in Washington. So you only be about about a 2-block walk to where all the free viewing grandstands are at.
What about Juneteenth celebration?
Yeah, so we've this is actually probably the first year that Corktown's become a little bit active with Juneteenth Detroit. We have a couple of different activations. Brooklyn Street Local has a pop-up dinner that they're doing with a couple local chefs. We also have another activation at the park, and then there's going to be a Phantasma market and also Batch Brewing Company. So Detroit Hispanic Development Corporation, Batch Brewing Company, and a number of other people are getting together, and they're going to have Batch has a new outdoor amphitheater, so they're going to have music and whatnot in celebration all day, both at Batch and also in the park across the street.
Okay.
And so you can go to JuneteenthDetroit.com and get all that information.
Okay. And tell us about McShane's. It opens when and closes.
Yeah.
And the menu.
Yeah, so we're open 7 days a week, kind of regular bar hours. So we open at 11 and close at last calls at 2 a.m. On Sunday, we do open an hour, or Saturday and Sunday, we open an hour early for brunch. So we have brunch from 10 until 2, Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, we're here to serve you 7 days a week. We do, dine in, carry out, delivery, whatever it is that you need.
And you also serve as president of what?
Yeah, I'm president for the Corktown Business Association.
Okay. Well, thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
And we thank you for letting us come into your establishment and
Yeah,
talk
absolutely. Happy to have
a
you.
lot of smack and stuff,
Well, you come in more than most to talk.
Well, I
to
live in the area, that's like,
I've never known you to talk any other way.
Thanks, Bob Roberts, owner of McShane's. Thank you very much. We'll go to a commercial break, Allan.
All righty.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information. We're here to help.
Nearly 30,000 vacant lots all over the city of Detroit are for sale right now. That's right, nearly 30,000 vacant lots are available now, starting at just $100. The lot next to your house or the lot down the street. Make it yours today in just a few simple clicks. Find out if it is available by visiting buildingdetroit.org. At the Detroit Land Bank Authority, side lots are just $100 and neighborhood lots sell for $250. You can apply and pay online today by visiting buildingdetroit.org. And if you don't see the lot you're looking for, call our offices. Our phone number is 313-974-6869. Again, that is 313-974-6869. We have already sold more than 21,000 vacant lots to Detroit homeowners. Make today your turn by visiting buildingdetroit.org.
All right.
And now
We
they
are
watch.
back. We are back.
We're back. Vanessa, how can our listeners and viewers
Our
find
viewers
us?
can find us on our YouTube channel, Detroit in Black and White. They can also go on Deadlines Detroit, and they can find the link to Detroit in Black and White. We're also on Facebook Live every Saturday. If you don't catch us live, like I said, you could watch us on YouTube. You find us on YouTube, this is what we're going to ask that you do. We're going to ask that you like. We're going to ask that you share. And we're going to ask that you subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe.
Or follow.
So-
and it's free. It's all free.
Absolutely. It is absolutely all free. So we're going to ask that you do that.
And I just want to say one thing. Karma is a motherfucker. 910 has been sold. Kevin Adele, he had to pay his taxes.
Oh, they sold it?
Yeah, he sold it to a real media company.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
wow. When
does
did
that mean
happen?
Does that mean 9:10 a.m. also, or just
Listen,
just a TV
CBS
station?
CBS stock is down, right? CBS radio.
Uh-huh.
What do you think? 910 is worth? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's zero.
Oh, wow.
Zero. You know.
Now, did Adolph? Did he? I saw that they sold WADL, but I wasn't clear if it was just this TV station was sold or the radio.
Well, if he
station
sold
did.
WADL, they're gonna have to leave the radio. Where are they going?
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't
they'll
know.
probably be doing
The
what we're
island,
doing.
the island of misfit toys.
But
Well,
he's
wait
also
a minute.
he's
He
got
said, wait a minute, Alan. He said the island of misfit toys. That means that we were on the island with the other
Right.
misfits.
yes.
And-
We were one
Go
of the
ahead,
we were one of the few one of the few people that did not have a felony.
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
Right. But
Oh,
anyway,
my goodness.
you wanted
Yeah,
to.
I want to correct something.
Yeah,
The
go
other
ahead.
week, and of the three, I was the lone person who took up for Highland Park, the city of Highland Park. One of the things that Adolph talked about, he said that he had a problem with the congressman of the 13th district, because the 14th district no longer exists, which is Sri Thanadar. That
He's from
he didn't
Mars,
believe.
right?
He believed that he had not done anything. Now, I'm not a fan of Sri Thanadar. I do think that we could have and should have better representation, but I also believe in telling the truth. Sri Thanadar is involved with Highland Park. As a matter of fact, he has met with the mayor of Highland Park. Now, what their conversations was about, I don't know, but he has met with her, talked about the water issue. And I also read an article where the governor of the state of Michigan said, listen, Highland Park and the Great Lakes Water Authority, they need to work this thing out. I don't want to get involved because there's this conversation about bankruptcy. I personally think that if they need to file bankruptcy, that's something that they should do. I mean, the city of Detroit did it, and the bankruptcy is a reset button. If it gives them the opportunity to reset, then fine. Their tax base
Highland Park has nothing.
Highland Park has barely anything.
Nothing.
People,
Nothing.
don't say nothing.
Nothing.
People are
They have
something.
nothing.
People are
They
something.
have nothing.
People are something.
They are suffering.
Okay.
And
I said something.
Anytime you don't have a school system, and that's how communities flourish. When you got people moving in with families, etc. They once had and I'm not blaming the folks.
The people there.
When Chrysler moved their
Right.
headquarters, they didn't cut a real good deal because
Right.
they let Chrysler out early.
Right.
And they had a water bill then. Chrysler should have paid it.
Right.
No. Ford left Highland Park. Highland Park was created as a tax haven for the rich, Henry Ford and his cronies.
Right.
And then when they pulled out, they took everything. They had a hell of a community college closed. The high school closed.
Yeah. Closed and torn down.
Closed.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You see the city hall right next to an abandoned building.
Yeah.
Remind me of Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
Highland Park got a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, you ain't from Highland Park. And you ain't from Ecorse. You ain't from River Rouge. You ain't from Royal Oak Township. They rather cut their nose off despite their face. And so we got issues. We got real issues. What is Whitmer going to do? She got Benton Harbor facing the same issues. All the businesses moved across the river to St. Joe.
St. Joe.
You got
right.
Flint, where the attorneys got all the money.
Right.
They got
And
all
you
the
still
money
have the
for
issues.
people, and they're not even getting paid yet.
Right.
You got Pontiac, the largest city and the county seat in one of the richest counties in America,
United States, right?
And look at them. It's just, and these are strong Democratic strongholds that even when you had Blanchard and all these folks, they didn't do anything. We know the Republicans wasn't going to do anything. They just take, when you said bankrupt Highland Park, what do they have to give? Detroit had water. Detroit had Cobo. Detroit had the zoo, DIA, historical museum. They had access. Belle Isle, they gave it all up, and we still got the same problems on Belle Isle. Half the bathrooms are down.
What, on Belle Isle?
Yeah, that's a.
I
a
haven't
state
been on
park.
Belle Isle.
Belle Isle.
Yes, I have
But
not been,
anyway,
because the people
so-
from the hood, they said Belle
so-
Isle,
so-
but Belle
so
Isle.
Shree, he sat and met with the mayor.
Mhm.
Whoopie doo. What is he gonna do?
Well, the point that I'm making is
that he's doing something.
he has done something. How much, how effective, that's a whole different story.
That's like an
How
inept
much
attorney
this-
shows up at
that's
court
not-
and
whatever.
says, "I'm there."
Okay. But listen, isn't that the same thing that, I mean, you want to talk about him, but you've had predecessors. You had somebody that was in my district, that, what
Brenda
did they
Lawrence.
do? I don't know what that person's name is, but
I do.
I
We-
mean,
we-
so what I'm saying is, listen, I don't have to be a fan of yours, but what I do have to do is I think I need to be fair. I don't think that it's fair to say that somebody is not doing anything when in fact it looks like he's doing just like what the rest of these people have done.
that means he's doing nothing.
And guess what? The voters are okay with that because they put him in
they are,
office.
'cause they
Put him in office. So who am I?
Allan,
Who are you?
Allan, is Highland Park? Is it on his last legs?
I think not, only because I think the state whatever won't let it totally fail. But when I drive through Highland Park, which is pretty often, probably at least 4 or 5 times a week, I feel like I'm driving through the city that's been forgotten. We see Detroit, where there's still neighborhoods in Detroit that look forgotten, that have been left behind. But Highland Park is one big neighborhood that's been sort of left behind. There's a little bit of development. Thankfully for the strip malls, which would give it some type of vibrancy, but it's still it's a very tired feeling city where it doesn't feel like there's a lot being infused to it, and it's just trying to it's limping on one leg there. But it's got a population that has to be taken care of. It's almost it took me so long to figure out when I was in Highland Park and when I was in Detroit, and then I finally figured out it was the blue signs, street signs are Highland Park, the green ones are Detroit. But it's we've seen the school board, the police department. There's been so much corruption over the years. It's a city that needs a nice infusion of help.
Well, they need a whole lot of help, and it looks like they're not getting it. It's like the library that sits there. It was a beautiful building, and someone came into Highland Park and they was inquiring about the building to rehab it, to do some stuff. You know what? The powers that be in Highland Park. Oh, we got plans for that building. We're not selling it to anybody. Guess what? That's been 15 years ago, and it still sits empty. The old community college, they gave it away to someone who failed to do anything with it, and you just have to go back on that street where old abandoned hospital, community college, high school, all sitting there. This mayor, I met Glenda McDonald, a nice person. You know what? I don't think she knew what she was getting herself into. And they squabbling over marijuana. They squabbling over this. They calling each other names on the city council.
Didn't they just have a meeting not too long
Yeah, they
ago to
walked
talk
out,
about
yeah.
and the council members walked?
Yeah, they
walked out the meeting. Yeah,
and they should be trying to solve the issue. Now, you can't get blood out of a turnip when they're talking about pay what, $30 million.
I don't know how much it is. It's a lot of money.
Not gonna happen. So Highland Park is Highland Park. It joins the ranks of Muskegon Heights, Flint, Pontiac, Saginaw. These places, these places, hit hard time. Benton Harbor. Listen, look at Albion. Albion doesn't have a school system. They send their kids 20 miles away and to Marshall, who getting the money now.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my rant on Highland Park.
I just want to make it clear, clarify things, because I don't want people to say, "Oh, they said this and it's not true." So I want to make sure that anytime we say something and we need to straighten it out, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, because people do look for us for information, and some of them, if Adolph said that's it, well, I say that that's necessarily that's not necessarily true. But we're done already.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the time has gone by so quickly. I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess my final thoughts is, you know what? Next week, I will not be here. We'll have another co-host, but for the next week, be safe, enjoy yourself, and I'll see you week after next.
Allan Lengel. We can't hear you, Allan. See, Allan's trying to get to that reunion.
Oh, what reunion is that?
I guess it's old roommates. Can you hear us, Allan?
Your mic is muted.
But anyway, my final thought is join us next week. We'll be back. We'll have you'll be partying next week. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
This is Detroit in Black and White, and we'll be back at 10 a.m. on Saturdays.
All right.
Right here.
Right here at McShane's.
McShane's.
Oh, and come and join us. That's the final thought. Come and join us. I've invited some people to come down, and I'm going to continue to invite people to come down. Come down, join us. If you want to do a shout out or have something to say, or even do your outrage live, you can come and do that.
Right.
You can come and do that. And if you want to buy me breakfast, you can do that too.
Good night.
Bye.